on this week's edition of the BLAST Newscast.
When someone lets the wall down and allows you to see who they really are, it can be one of the most rewarding moments in the world.
There once was a girl who was too bright for darkness, so the devil pushed her aside. She refused to cause pain to others, so she asked God to be her guide. To blame herself for this dark place that haunted her, the devil took her in. For all her pain and suffering, she blamed herself for it.
Please join us as we present part 2 of our special coverage of Appreciation Day 2014. Coming up next.
Have a blast in God's place. Come along, let's have a blast.
And now, coming to you live from the festivities taking place at Appreciation Day 2014, Jacob Pyle. And also coming to you live from the Team Blast Ministries right here in good old Sharpsville, Indiana, Trenton Byers and Corwin Dalton.
Thank you, Chris Henry. Hello and welcome to the BLAST Newscast. I'm Corwin Dalton.
And I'm Trenton Byers. Jacob Pyle is on an assignment, and we'll see him later in the show. And if you can recall from last week, we brought you part 1 of our special coverage from the Appreciation Day 2014.
That's right, Trenton. Last week, we've seen a lot of amazing acts, giving their appreciation to the Lord, and this week won't be any different. Trenton and I will be back at the end of this newscast with a few words, but for right now, though, let's turn it over to Jacob Pyle, who is live from the Appreciation Day 2004.
Well, it's time for another testimony, folks. And this person you are about to meet is one of our college interns here at Team Blast. And it is such a blessing to be able to have her. Here to interact with the other Team Blast students here each and every week. Ladies and gentlemen, here to give her testimony, one of our college interns, Molly Fisher.
Hi, Mike. My name is Molly, as he just said. Sorry, I'm a little emotional because that song has to go kind of with it. I think that was a God thing, so... Yeah, let's be there. I don't have my Bible full, so if I, freak out on you guys, I'm sorry. Alright, I'd like to share my story with you tonight. Leaving home was the best and worst mistake I had ever made. I was leaving a broken home, more like a shattered home, with my parents going through a divorce, which is a whole other story, and trying to leave my childhood molestation behind. You see, leaving a small town and heading into the big city was something I thought I needed to do. It was a way out for me. I believe it was a way for God to show me what His true purpose was for me. Throughout this past year, God has showed me a harder challenge lifestyle that I was not used to. I chose to live a harder route, a path that His eyes were witnessing the whole entire time. I was that girl in high school who was labeled as a goody-goody, who never did anything wrong. After leaving home, I felt like I could do anything. I felt like I could be anyone I wanted to be. No one from high school was there to judge me or make fun of me anymore. After going through all of what I went through with my parents' divorce, you could say I went through a rebel stage. I started hanging out with the wrong group of people. I was into the party scene, even though I absolutely hated every moment of it. This was me trying to be with this new group of friends. Throughout this whole time, though, I was trying to find this missing piece that never seemed to fulfill with each and every drink I drank. My best friend at the time was also in a difficult stage of her life, and I believe she was a very bad influence on me as well. The next stage I went through is one of the hardest things I will have to talk about. I have done drugs, honestly. I will never touch them again, and after I tell you why, you will understand. As a birthday gift from my friend, I was given medical marijuana for the first time. After all the talks I have received from the schools, I never thought I could cave into the kind of temptation. I said no so many times until I felt the need, the want, to try something new. To try and find something that will fill my heart, to find a way to fill this gaping hole in my heart. It was that empty and numb that I was just wanting to find something to make me happy one more time. As they smoked in front of me, I witnessed a change in their behavior. Their worries disappeared. I didn't want to hurt anymore. I just wanted to feel safe. After smoking, though, I realized that numbing instinct was totally wrong. That night, after smoking the joint, I ended up seizing or having a fight with the God in the devil. I felt that God was looking down on me and was disappointed and angry. That night was a test, and I failed completely. That night, my friend tried calling 911 for help because not only did she feel helpless, but guilty for putting me into the situation. Since the dealer was there with us, overhearing my friend talking about wanting to call the police for help, he reacted like any other drug dealer would. Probably would, and he pulled a gun out on her. That night was a wake-up call. Psychologically, I was there. My mind just kept replaying the scenes that I had witnessed, and I didn't know how to handle it. I had no one there to talk to, and no one that could truly understand what I had just gone through. I didn't want to bother my parents with something that almost happened, but didn't. I honestly didn't have a good group of friends to lean on. I just didn't have it. I did what I knew best, and I tried finding the comfort in guide. I leaned on a human comfort and human stability instead of God. This, though, was a tiny step to God. A pathway paved when I felt this guy. A pathway paved when I met this guy that was into a youth group at church. He introduced me to his youth group. That night, the numbness started slowly fading away. The darkness that was surrounding my spirit was slowly vanishing each and every song that we sang in worship to the Lord. At that moment in time, God spoke to me saying, "My child, I see you. Now it's time to stop running and come back into my arms." Most people would jump for joy if he called out to you, but I trembled in my own sin and fear. I ran further away from him because I couldn't accept his forgiveness. Who could ever forgive someone who sinned and ignored everything she was taught to be wrong or right at such a young age? Why in the world would you still want me and give me a purpose in this life when I couldn't even see it myself? So I ran further away into the human flesh, seeking to fill the gaping hole in my heart. In the back of my head, I knew exactly how to fix it, but in reality, I knew how the first step to take into my healing process of becoming a stronger Christian. I fell for a guy that I felt fulfilled every human need that I was seeking for at the time. I thought he was everything, so I pushed God even further away. Because, of course, I put all my focus and concern in life was just to make this one guy happy. To make sure nothing went wrong. In the midst of every temptation, In the midst of every temptation, I met some amazing people who introduced me into Crossroads. finally, even though my faith was very weak, I still talked to God, who would ask him, I still talked to God, who would ask him, please, to bring someone who was a Christian I could rely on, who I could worship with, who I could just to be there for me. I just needed someone to be there for me so I could actually lean on them. That's who I was seeking for the whole entire time. Slowly my relationship was falling apart because my faith in Christ was growing stronger each and every day when I met these people. Once a couple of friends saw the potential in me, the dedication that was driving me to want to do more in life, especially with the youth, they introduced me to Team BLAST. And I fell in love instantly. No, I am not just saying that to be able to have a, no, I'm not just saying that to be able to have a place like Team BLAST means growing up with a support system, growing up with something that I did not have when I was younger. This place means the world to me because even though my freshman year was hard to overcome, I wouldn't change it or regret any moment because that means that one day I could connect with one of these teams. And I mean, each one of these teams I can connect with something of my past. I have already heard some of the testimonies, and even though it may be hard to hear, I know that their lives are being healed each and every day that my presence is at Team BLAST. I might poke them or give them an awkward hug, but I know it makes them smile, and that's all I'm seeking for. Or stand up. Or lick her face awkwardly. Anyway, I'm sorry, keep going on. Because when someone lets a wall down and allows you to see who they really are, it can be one of the most rewarding moments in the world. These teams mean the world to me because they show me my true potential and purpose in life. God has shown me what my life could have been if I kept going down that path that I was going down. And I know I'm not meant to be there. Point blank. Anyway, sorry. But I chose different this time. I chose to be someone that could be better. And for Team BLAST, they could one day see me as a female Christian role model. 1 John 9 says, if we focus on sin, He is faithful and just will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. In conclusion, I am far from where I'm supposed to be, but each and every day the healing process has to fill the hole just a little bit more. I know God loves me for me. I know that my sins are forgiven, and that now it is time for me to grow stronger than yesterday. I am eager to see where my future will be within this ministry of Team BLAST, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, Molly. And now I'm going to read an original poem she wrote. It's one of our Team BLAST students, Makayla Marcum.
This poem is called Darkness. There once was a girl who was too bright for darkness, so the devil pushed her aside. She refused to cause pain to others, so she asked God to be her guide. To blame herself for this dark place that haunted her, the devil took her in. For all her pain and suffering, she blamed herself in. She longed for independence from this dark place that she had entered. She prayed to God for him to answer. I set you free of this test you acquired, now forever stay away from the devil's power. She was not courageous, she was not strong. Whatever the devil threw at her, whatever path she chose, it was never wrong. So if she stands here, on the earth God made, she is not ready to disappear, for she is too bright for any darkness.
as she shares her testimony. Here to share her testimony is one of our Team BLAST students, Jensen Freeman.
Hi, I'm Jensen. I've been going to Team BLAST for about a year now. I go to Northwestern High School. I'm a sophomore. 16. Far away for me to go here, but there. Ever since I was young, I've always heard the saying, you can't love anyone or anything before you learn to love yourself. And I totally thought it was wrong. Like, of course you can love stuff, but you can't love yourself. But when I grew up, getting older, getting more responsible, life kind of seemed to get unfair. I drifted from God a little bit. I was raised in a Christian home, clearly Baptist, but whatever. I just kind of like forgot about him those days. I was like, nothing really happened where I was like, wow, God's awesome or something, but it was kind of my fault because I'm Christian that way. Let's see. I've always kind of struggled with like being conscious about like myself and like confidence and stuff. So it all started when I was in like 6th grade, and like I would look in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, you're so fat. But like I have a sister who's in 6th grade now, and like I would never ever want her to think something like that, because she looks like she seems so young, and like I don't know, there's just, oh gosh. But anyway, starting in about 7th grade. Which about 3 years ago, I started cutting myself, which is terrible. First time I did it, my mom found out, and she kind of like freaked. And she said that if she like catches me doing it again, I'm gonna go to counseling, and like started freaking out. But she was mad. She didn't seem sad. Like, why are you hurting yourself? She didn't say it that time. So it's just like, well, she obviously doesn't care. She just cares about what other people think. But yeah, I just kind of like let go of that for like a couple months, and then I was like, okay, they think I'm not doing it anymore. So then I started back up again, and that lasted for until about 6 months ago. And like, I don't know, sometimes I wouldn't even do it because I'm depressed. I just do it because like I felt like I had to, because like when like you bleed, it releases a hormone called endorphins, which is like relief, and it's like the same thing you get when you exercise or when you like I don't know, go tan, like get vitamin D or something. So you're just like, it sounds silly. But yeah, I started coming to Team BLAST about January, February of 2013. To be honest, I went, well, that sounds terrible. I started going at first because I kind of just wanted to spend time with Caleb, who's my boyfriend, who goes there. Sorry. But anyway, like the first time I went, I was like, wow, this is awesome. This beats any date. Anyway, so yeah. So then I was like, this is awesome, and I kind of like got closer to God, but then like the devil would always step in and be like, what are you doing? Like, who do you think you are? Like, you can't do that. You're Jensen Freeman. You're worthless. So then kind of like started slipping away again, and yeah, and I would always just like talk to God and be like, well, why'd you even put me here if I can't even like praise you? Like, I try really hard, but I always slip up. So it's like, why don't you just take my life? Like, come on, like I'm not going to do it myself because that would be kind of selfish for my family and stuff. But like, why am I even here? Like, and I can't praise you or anything. Something always happens, and I would try. I really would. It was just like I didn't even have self-control anymore. But yeah. Then like September came around, and we were doing a baptism at Fisher and Jensen's house. And so I was just like, so I went. Caleb invited me. But yeah, and then
like, we were singing and praising, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And then, like, people were getting baptized. I was just like, oh, this is so overwhelming. Just feeling so many different emotions. And then Desi was like, does anyone else feel like they need to be baptized? Like, are they being called to something right now? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. Just to, like, smack the devil in the face. Sorry. But yeah, and so I did, and I got baptized and smacked the devil. But I felt like I did, and it was awesome. So, yeah, that happened, and, like, then I, like, promised God, I was like, I'm going to stop. Like, if I can't, like, I have to love myself before I can love anyone. I finally realized that, and that included my God. So I learned to love myself. And it's like, how can you hate yourself? How can you hate your body if your God made it? Like, how can you hate something God made? Because it's God. Like, you can't just hate it. So I learned, and I'm still learning. But yeah, so I remember I just let the pain remind me that I can heal, and Jesus is always going to be there to help me. Nothing can separate us from God's love. So then I'm going to share some Bible verse. Let's see, from Romans chapter 8. 35. Says, can anything ever separate us from Christ's love? Does it mean he no longer loves us if we have trouble or tormented, or persecuted, or hungry, or destitute, or in danger, or threatened with death? Like that kind of hits me. Like, God's always going to love you no matter what you do. So yeah. That's it.
So, many acts aren't there. Is there one particular favorite act that you like?
You know something, there are so many acts in this world, Trent, that I really like. It's hard to choose one. But I would like to say, I not only like each of these acts, I love them because of not just how well they perform it, or how great they do, but the originality that they took in bringing it together.
That's good. Thanks, Jacob.
You know, people have different talents, whether it's emceeing, or operating a camera, or singing, or even telling a joke or two. Oh, there are lots of people that have talent.
Yes, and that's what we've been seeing both last week and this week. And that's something we are going to be seeing again next week, too.
Are you excited?
Can't wait!
Looking for something to do on a weekday afternoon? Come and join us for Teen Blast. Our address is 210 South Main Street, Sharpsville, Indiana, 46068. Anyone 6th grade or older is welcome. We are open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for open gym from 3 to 6 p.m., Tuesdays for Teen Blast from 3 to 9 p.m., with Tuesday services from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., and Fridays for the 5th quarter from 9 p.m. to midnight. Come join us, won't you? On next week's edition of the BLAST Newscast.
Feel the days gone by, and I never take the time.
Please join us for the conclusion of our special coverage of Appreciation Day 2014. That's coming up on next week's edition of the BLAST Newscast, and we'll see you then.
Well, Trenton, that's all the time we have for this week.
Yep, but But don't despair, though, because we will continue our coverage of Appreciation Day 2014 next week.
That's right! And with that, that will be it for this week. Thank you for joining us. I'm Corwin Dalton.
And I'm Trenton Byers, and good night, Jacob Pyle.
Good night, Corey and Trenton. Hope you enjoyed the show this week, and we'll have a lot more good stuff for you next week. I'm Jacob Pyle, and until then, good night, and God bless my friends. Let's have a blast.
Some of the material shown as part of our special coverage of Appreciation Day 2014 has been edited for broadcast. This is Chris Henry speaking for the BLAST Newscast. This program